how to get more from your networking. I guess the first question should be this. Is networking a game? What do you think? By show of hands, who thinks it's yes? Anybody? Nobody thinks it's a game.
In the sense that it's fun?
Game is that games you can win and you can lose. So win and lose, we got a couple hands. Okay. Well, the question is, if it's a game, games have rules, don't they? Do you know the rules of networking? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Well, here's the thing. The rules of networking are about information and how it's presented. Do you present your information in a way you can win at the game or you can lose at the game? There's a lot of different ways you can share the same information. So for instance, I own an office supply company. I could give a very comprehensive, brief bit of information about my company, or I could say, well, I sell stuff for your office. Buy from me. Well, if I say buy from me, I sell stuff, you're not going to be so impressed. If I share with you what we do and why it's a great fit in 20 seconds, you might be more likely to buy. So when you meet somebody, do you say, oh, great, this is an opportunity for me to tell them as much about me as possible. They've got to want to know everything about me and what I do. Well, why is that funny? Because it's happened to you? I mean, nothing is better than walking up to somebody at a networking event and then monopolizing the next 10 minutes of your time telling about their life and random stories that don't apply to you or networking. Please don't do that. Because the thing is, people aren't going to engage with you. Kind of like what Ann said, you're not going to want to be around those people. What you're going to do is meet people who are reciprocal. People who are going to spend time with you, learning about you, and you learning about them. So the thing is, this is a very complicated process, and I'm not good at math, but we're going to see if we can make this work. You've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. If you use them in proportion, it should work out pretty well. If you forget the numbers, it probably isn't going to do so well for you. So maybe listen more than you talk. Now, back to the rules. So when you're at an event, are you really in a competition? Well, when you're in an open networking event, you are in a competition because you don't meet just one person or 2 people. You meet a whole lot of people. So why should your card, when they look at the cards that they got from the event, mean something to them later on? What did you do to stand out? Were you funny? Maybe you told a great story. Maybe it's the way you looked. Maybe the way you approached them. What was it? Because a lot of people are so vanilla that you don't even remember them. Like, hi, I'm Pat. I do stuff. Nice to meet you. You get this card and go, Pat, who's, whatever. Versus somebody coming up being friendly, making you laugh, engaging with them, being smiley, listening and asking. Those are the people you remember. Go, oh, I remember Dan Fazio. He's the guy who's a chiropractor, does all this great stuff. I want to reach out to Dan. So which person are you? Think about that for a second. Are you the person who's engaging or the person that says, hi, I'm Pat? So which one are you? Think about that. So now, I've got a challenge for you. You ready for this challenge? Yes. Everyone, raise your hand if you're up for a challenge. Let's see it. Okay. Oh my gosh, we're all in here. Okay. I want you to learn more about the person you're talking to than what you share with them, but still share some. So whatever time they spend half as much time talking about yourself. Don't be there trying to be the guy, the gal who shares every bit of information about you, because you know what? It's kind of like, imagine if you don't give them any reason to follow up with you. Why would they want to? Why tell them everything? I mean, think of this. If you're in an event and all you're doing is talking about yourself, you're not looking at the people in the room. One way that I've learned to be very effective in networking is connecting other people. Because here's the thing. If everyone thinks of me, there's only one of me. But if I introduce you to somebody else, then you're going to think of both of us. And when you think of one of us, you think of 2 of us. So that means you're going to think of me twice as often. You're going to be willing to reach out to me, whether it be for a connection, a meeting, a referral, whatever it might be. So think of people you meet in an event and connect them to other people. Maybe it's the way they do their hair. Maybe it's just the event. Maybe it's where they're from. I mean, we all know the St. Louis question, right? Where'd you go to high school? You know what? Because here's the thing. They might mention a high school. You haven't thought of somebody that you did business with 3 months ago, or you forgot to follow up with, that went to another high school. Mary Kuthais, where'd you go to high school? No way, so did I. Well, guess what? We had a meeting and found that out. I actually started a Parkway West networking group because of the where'd you go to high school, and I've had great opportunity to meet with a lot of people I knew, and some I didn't, because Mary and I were like, 1 or 2 years difference in school? A few. As I said, I'm not so good at math, but no. The other thing is this. When you're sharing information about yourself, the less you say, the more they're going to remember. Because here's the thing. We have a lot of distractions, whether it be social media, noise, things going on in our head, in our lives, in our business. So the less you can say and use more impactful words, the more people are going to remember. They want to work with you. They want to help you. They want to buy into you, but let them. If you give long stories and random information and jump around, there's no way they can possibly keep up and follow, because remember, you're not the only person they're going to meet at an event. They're going to meet, if they do it right, at least 10, maybe 20 or even 30 or more people. Why you? Well, make it you because you're going to be concise, informative, and engaging. So here's the thing. When you go to an event, a lot of people are trying to sell. Don't sell anything. No one's there buying. If you're selling and no one's buying, what are you going to sell? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But if you give a little bit of information to make them more curious, to set up a meeting in the future, I'm not saying you should sell at that meeting, but what you can do is you can inform, and if you give all the information, guess what? They're not going to ask questions. So let me give you an example that happened in my world. We just picked up a 50-location retail chain. Yeah, it's just part of what we did. Well, some people might say, well, where is it? How did you do it? Who is it? Well, you know what? If you'd like to sit down and find out, we can do that. But I'm not going to do it in front of a camera, nor am I going to do it at a networking event. We can talk about it. And I want to learn more about your business too, because you know what? I want to find out what would give you an equal opportunity to a 50-location retail person that benefited my business. Because here's the thing. If you're not successful and you're not in business, you can't be a referral partner of mine, because you might be working at a fast food restaurant or at a clothing store, which might not be as beneficial versus being in an accounting role, or possibly doing remodeling, whatever it might be, where you're going to be out there meeting people and connecting people to me, and I can connect more to you, which is probably your passion because you're doing it in the first place. Next, people definitely want to help you, but a lot of people are not specific enough with what they ask for. Like, for instance, Dan, you're a chiropractor, right? If someone has a spine, is that good for you?
Yes, that would be good.
Okay, so if a chiropractor needs someone with a spine, and they go, well, I'm just looking for someone with a spine, it doesn't really make you think of anybody, because probably most people in this room have a spine and don't have to do raise of hands. However, the more specific you are with what you say, what you ask for, maybe it's someone who has a spine that has problem with their weight. Maybe it's someone who has a spine who has problem with their family or diabetes, or has a disability, whatever it might be. The more specific you can be, even to the fact someone who has a spine and is a stay-at-home mom. Those are the types of ways people can generalize, take a general group of people and make it more specific, and think of who they might want to refer you to or could refer you to, assuming you've done a great job of building credibility by being informative. Because here's the thing. We all want to help, as I said, but a lot of people don't allow it. They're too vague, and they think they're being specific. Oh, I'd like to meet someone who uses toner. Well, guess what? Most of you use toner, but if you can even narrow down to an area, that's even better than just being in general, because it makes people think of, who do I know in Chesterfield? Who do I know in Valley Park? Because yes, we know a lot of people, but it's a smaller group, and the smaller the group, the better. If they have that group all you take care of, give another group. Because here's the thing. If people aren't willing to help you, they're probably not one of those people, as Ann said, should be in your network. But hopefully, most of the people you run into will be in your network and will be beneficial to you. Next, if you're going to meet with people, what's your goal? I mean, Ann said about talking to people, getting to know them. I mean, do you have a goal of helping others? Are you going to sit there and ask questions? As she said, have specific questions. You kind of took some of what I said, so, oh, that's okay. It means it's good stuff. We're both saying the same thing. But no, it's one of those things where ask specific questions and have them thought out ahead of time, because the thing is, if you don't seem engaging or interested in them, they're probably not going to return the favor. They're going to be like, oh, this was a waste of time. And you're not going to get an opportunity or have missed opportunity for referrals. Next, if you're going to ask for something from them, ask for a connection, help, be sure you ask what they need. Don't make it a one-way street, because so many people say, oh, you know, I need this, and I need that, and I need this, and I need that. Oh, that was a great meeting. See you, bye. And that's like, wait a second. So make sure it's a two-way street when you're networking. Also, when you're sitting down with somebody, make sure that your presentation is that in general and looking for referrals, not to sell to one person. Because the thing is, a lot of people make it think the person sitting across from me is my customer. Okay? The person across from you is not your customer only. They're a person who has a network behind them. And what you want to do is you want to think of them as, okay, I can sell to Wendy Breeze. However, Wendy Breeze can only use so much toner and so much paper. However, she has a network of people that she works with that might be business owners. There might be people that work in different capacities that can use 20 toners or 30 cases of paper or whatever it might be. So it's looking at people and finding a value of their, not only themselves, but also their network. Because the thing is, too many people look at the person across from them as that person and not the people behind them. Raise your hand if you're on LinkedIn. Anybody here on LinkedIn? Anybody? Oh, wow, everyone is. So raise your hand if you have under 200 connections. There's no hands up. So we all know at least 200 people. I'm going to assume there's 60 people in this room. That's a lot of people we all know. Even though some overlap, I'm sure a lot of us have more than 200 connections. So if you do the basic math, there's a lot of people in this room that you can get to know through the people that you're looking at around this room that can help your business be successful and you be successful. Make sense? So, the other thing people do is when they talk to people in a conversation, they have a one-on-one conversation, but they're talking straight across from each other. That's a closed conversation. It's very hard to get into that conversation. So if you're going to talk with somebody, make it a network event, please stand offset. So you have one person here and one person here, so it allows someone to walk into the conversation. Because if you're facing each other in an I formation, there's no way that they can jump into that conversation. Now maybe you want to have a private conversation, and if you're a big networking event doing that, go somewhere else, because you're there to meet people. I mean, again, if you'd like to do it, go off in the corner, but if you're going to be in the middle, there's other people who might want to meet you, so make sure you're available to meet them. Next, be positive. I mean, everyone here has had something go on in their life, minor, major, that's distracting from business. Maybe it's personal, maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a lost deal at work, whatever it might be. But you know what? Everyone else doesn't want to hear your problems, because a lot of times if you look across the table and you see the person and you said, hey, let's trade problems, you probably would keep your own. So, just saying. So the point is that, I mean, it's one of those things that, I mean, you just be positive. I mean, you can wallow in what happens later, talk to people in your family, your close friends later, but it's one of those things that, we all have things that happen, but they're there to be positive and do business. Also, again, when you're in that I formation, you don't know who you're leaving out. I was at a networking event once, and I was trying to meet somebody who I could have really helped, and they would never let me in the conversation. So after trying 3 times in a half an hour, I gave up because I was done trying. I mean, if you can't stop for 2 seconds in a half an hour, when I come up to you 3 times and try to break into your conversation to help you out, well, you know what? That's a good enough effort in my book. 3 strikes and you're out. So it's one of those things I'd like to now recap. Number 1, presenting information is key. How you present your information is very important. You can do it the right way or the wrong way. Do it the right way. Number 2, well, you find that funny, huh? Learn more than you share. Make sure you're learning from other people, not just sharing your information only. Next, introduce others. Help others be successful and you'll be successful. That's how I've built the entire business of helping and connecting other people. Next, limit your time with one person. You're not there at a networking event to hear their whole life story. Spend no more than 5 minutes. I'd even suggest 3 minutes, because in 3 minutes you can get an idea if they're a legit person that you want to sit down and have coffee, a follow-up phone call, follow-up email, or even do business with. So don't have a long conversation. Collect a card, maybe even write on the card why you want to follow up with them. Maybe it's about an organization. Maybe it's about a certain product. Maybe it's about another event, whatever it might be. Do something with that so that way you can have a way to follow up with people. And the final thing is this: follow up. So many people don't do that. Make sure you, within 48 hours of business time, you email, meaning 2 days total. You email, you call, you do whatever you said you were going to do, connect them, and that way you can not only take your network and learn from people, but also be successful and help them grow as well. Thank you very much. Did I tell you everything you might want to know, or do you have any questions I can answer for you? Oh, looks like I was really good. Man, not one question. We got a question. Got a taker.
I just wanted to say, when you asked how many people were up for the challenge, I think the reason we were all in was because you were so engaging and humorous, and that was a good lesson for me, just watching how you presented your information.
Well, thank you. I try to be funny and not just looking. Yes. So, we got Glenda over here.
Over in the corner.
Yes, Miss Glenda, what do you have for me, please?
Hey, listen, I loved your presentation.
Well, thank you.
Always very valuable information. My question is about that darn follow-up thing. You know, do you have a system? Do you have some ideas about how, I know how important it is to follow up, but sometimes I don't do such a good job, Mark. So do you have any tips for me about how to get a plan in place to make sure I do that?
So tips to follow up. What I like to do is when I take the cards out of my pocket, I try to put them in stacks. The ones that are the most important to follow up, or even rate them in the stack where I put the most important to follow up at the top. So no matter how busy I am, that stack's looking at me and staring at me going, I need to follow up with this person. I need to follow up with this person. Okay, I'm going to send them an email. And then I put that one off to the side. Then, okay, I need to give this person a call because they needed this. And that way, just by putting it in front of me, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, Glenda, but it's a way that I can help myself by putting it in a certain spot on my desk so I know if there's a pile there, I need to be working through it and mixing it in with the other activities of my day. So,
Thank you.
no problem. Oh, we got a question in the back from Bill? Okay. Yes, Bill.
Mark, when you attend an event, do you go into the event with an objective in mind?
When I go to an
Yeah, when you go there, at the end of the day, how are you going to determine whether or not it was a successful event?
So how do I determine if an event's successful? Well, my goal is to have 3 opportunities come out of that event. There'd be 3 new, a mixture of connections, pieces of business, ways to better my business and myself. So if I go to an event and leave with only 1 opportunity, 1 was nice, but I could find other ways to get 1 opportunity. But my goal is 3 different action items out of that can help me grow the business and make it so we can hit our goal as a company of 1 new account a day. So that's again, it's a mix and match. It can be 3 of 1 or a lot of different ways, but I just want to make sure that it is worth my time. And if it's not, I probably won't go back. Will or Carrie? Carrie, what do you have?
Yeah, when you're at a networking event, what is the polite way to break into somebody's conversation? Because you can imagine with my background, I've been on the end of it where I've seen like people rudely break into other people's conversation. So what's the polite way to
break in conversation, tell them they're boring and walk away. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. No, this is something I actually heard. So I'm stealing here, but basically say, you know what? I have a goal of meeting 5 new people today, and you're number 2 or number 3. I really appreciate your time. Could I have your card so I can follow up later? Or you bring someone else into the conversation so you can get out that can help them meet that person that would be beneficial to them, and then you escape out the back door. Got it? Okay, yes, Will.
Mark, do you have any tips for introverts that are not excited about being at networking events in the first place?
My name is Mark, and I'm actually an introvert, believe it or not. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Believe it or not. Yes. So being an introvert, honestly what it is don't look at it as an entire room, look at it as one conversation. So many people see networking, obviously, unless you're presenting to the room, that it's, oh my gosh, look at all these people. It's just one person. Go up and have a conversation with one person. Are you done? Find another person to have one conversation with. But by just talking to one person, it's a lot easier. Another way is if you find 2 people talking and you know one of them, go up and let someone introduce you into that area too, because that way you don't have to introduce yourself. They can introduce you in. Also gives them a chance to escape and a chance for you to get to that person a little more comfortably. Kind of make sense? Lori?
Yeah, so I had actually misunderstood his question and thought it was going to be my question, so I got the opportunity to ask. When there's 2 people or more talking and you're trying to break into that group to be a part of the conversation, what's a polite way to do it? Because, sometimes you walk up and you just kind of stand. I mean, do you listen for a certain or how do you approach that?
What I do is if I get a chance, someone looks at me and they go, oh, I'm just eavesdropping. Keep talking. I'll wait. And then they feel guilty and they open up the conversation to me usually. So I let them know I'm eavesdropping. I'm listening to everything they're saying, and it's up to them to let me in, or they still leave me out for another minute and a half, then I'm done. But that's okay. Bill, what do you have?
First of all, in a group like this, breaking into a conversation is never a problem. You walk up and the group will open. I found it over and over again. Secondly, in terms of preparing for an event, preparing for a networking event, some years ago, goes back to the old IMC days, but I think it was Sam Black gave a presentation about these kinds of skills, and they involved taking 5 minutes beforehand, maybe 7.5 minutes beforehand, and going through a list of topics, a list of questions, and rehearsing a list of questions. This is what I'll ask about. And it might be something they saw on TV, might be a sports score, it might be a news item, might be some current event thing, might be something like that. And then inevitably something will occur to you with the person that you encounter. But you go through a little dress rehearsal beforehand.
Current events to me are fine. They're a nice cop out. Unfortunately, I know Sam actually. What I would say is make it about them. Ask about their business. Ask them what's unique in their business or new and exciting in their world. Because again, it's making it about them. You can always use the events to kind of keep things going to get to the next question. But if you stay just on events, you're at such a high level, they're never going to feel engaged with you, is my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's one of those things that if you can get more personal, they have emotion. If you have emotion, as Ann said, you're going to feel a connection to people. If you're just talking about that it's cold and snowy in the month of March, they're not going to really connect with you. But that's just my opinion, not saying I'm right. But thank you so much for your time, everybody, and I'll talk to you later.